Sabah Khawaja, and I'm originally from Pakistan. I was born in Pakistan, and then after that I went to the United States. My father and mother took me there when I was very, very young. I was about 6 months old. So I actually grew up in the United States. My upbringing was there. So I really didn't grow up in Pakistan. But I did go there later on after I got married. And I married a man who was a petroleum engineer, and his profession brought us to the Middle East. And so living in the Middle East, we moved to Pakistan first. And when I went to Pakistan, that's actually where I learned how to speak Urdu, because I didn't speak Urdu, I only spoke English. And my mother-in-law, my father-in-law were with us, so I learned the language. I learned Urdu, and then my 2 sons were born. Abdul Karim and Rustam were born in Pakistan. And then we were there for about 5 years in Islamabad and Karachi. And then my husband Saud, he got transferred. That was about 18 years ago that we moved to Bahrain. And since then we have been living here. So my days begin early, going to Bahrain school. I'm teaching high school English. I'm also teaching the International Baccalaureate program, English and Theory of Knowledge, and the CAS coordinator. So my days are really full. I'm very, very busy here in Bahrain. We have a wonderful lifestyle because we live on the golf course, and it is, I have a bit of a drive. I do drive about 35-40 minutes to work, but it is worth every minute of the drive to come back home and just to relax here in our house. So I enjoy it. I love living in Bahrain. There's so much to do, so much to see here. My children love Bahrain also. They both went to high school here in Bahrain, at the Bahrain school there. They graduated from there. So for them, this place is also home. The Dolmen Fort, which is in the Sif area, we love that. We love that, especially when the weather cools down. We go there for walks in the evening. The Sif area also is so pretty with the water and the old the boats that they have over there. We love that. Muharraq also is a nice place to go. I used to be with the American Women's Association, and we would have like monthly trips to Muharraq and to the old town, the old souk, and see that. So yes, I think there's still a lot of culture, a lot of history in Bahrain. I love going to Bab al Bahrain. I love the gold souk over there and just walking through. And whenever we have visitors, family coming from either Pakistan or the US, we always take them to these places of interest. And my husband will always take them to the oil museum. And that is the first place, because he's a petroleum engineer. He loves taking them to the oil museum, and that's one place we make sure that we go to. So there's really a lot to do in Bahrain. It has changed tremendously. When we first moved in 2002, I think there was only that Sif area, and there was no Sif Mall at that time, and so there wasn't a whole lot to do at the beginning when we first moved here, but gradually we saw the flyovers and the highways expanding, and more malls were mushrooming and coming up. This whole development in Rifa Views that was wonderful, because it meant that we could come to this area and live here. So these kind of developments that have come up for expats and freehold properties was really a big door opener for us as investors, and also many of our friends also came here and started investing in Bahrain, and the freedom and the ease of it was wonderful. And my husband will tell you more about that, because he's more into that than I am, but it's been an easy transition. Bahrain is very inviting, and I think that's the big part of us wanting to stay here and have a very comfortable life. Everyone from the immigration officers at Bahrain Airport to the police, traffic police, when I have a fender bender, the Bahrainis are wonderful people. They are so kind, so inviting. They make you feel like you are at home. That's how Bahraini people make you feel. Even when I'm walking in the souk in Bahrain, Urdu is everywhere, as you know. So I really feel at home, just with the language and with the Bahraini people who are always so gracious and hospitable to the expat community in Bahrain. I think that's what makes Bahrain the special pearl that it is. It is really a pearl of an island, this place is. So, well, I actually, when I was in Saudi Arabia, living there, I went back to the United States to finish my degree, my teaching degree in English literature, and I went for about 2 years, came back to Saudi, and then I was teaching at the Bahrain Academy for about 2 years. So my husband said, well, Sabah, Bahrain is right next door. How about we move there? So my husband actually was commuting every day back to Khobar every day for about 4 years. And we moved here. We moved in Jasra. We first moved in Jasra because it was right off of the causeway. And we lived there, and then we enrolled both of our sons at Bahrain school, and then I started teaching over there as well. And that's how we kind of transitioned from Saudi to Bahrain. And once we moved here, I and my children and my mother-in-law, she lived with us, we were all very happy. But eventually it got a bit tiring for Saud, for my husband, because he was commuting every day. And then eventually he'll tell you about that, about his own adventure. But working at Bahrain school has been wonderful. It has been wonderful because both of my children, I said, graduated from there. So since 2002, I have been at Bahrain school working there, and I just feel like it's part of my home now. You know, the people, we have some Arabic teachers, we have some French teachers for the languages, and then the rest of the teachers are US citizens because we are United States Department of Defense School, and we are here to support the Navy dependents. So that has given me a wonderful opportunity to work with a very multicultural community in Bahrain. We have some private, students who are private, and they are Bahraini. We have a wonderful dormitory at Bahrain school, and we are the only high school in Bahrain that has a dormitory, by the way. So we are able to cater to students coming from Saudi Aramco. We're able to cater to them. So we have a very diverse student body at Bahrain school, which makes it even more enjoyable and to work over there. My vision really coincides with the IB philosophy, the International Baccalaureate philosophy, which is we're all international wherever we are, and we have a mission to understand each other, to be kind to each other, and to know that we're all different, and to be accepting of those differences. I think if we can do that, if we can instill that in our students, then we would have a much happier world. There'd be less wars, and just that understanding about the differences, and not trying to, you have to be like me, and you have to, come to my side, otherwise we can't live together. I think once we can break those barriers and have that mutual understanding, I think we'd be in a more peaceful world. And that is what I instill to all of my students in all of my classes, no matter what I am teaching, to accept the other person for who they are, no matter what their beliefs are, no matter what their race is, no matter what their gender is, doesn't matter. And if we can do that, then we've made great progress, in my opinion. My inspiration comes from happiness. I want to be a happy person, and therefore I want positive energy around me all the time. So I have a thinking. I think very positive. I'm always wanting to believe in the impossible And even it may not be true for today, my belief is that it can happen, and I expect that it will happen. So really my philosophy of life is I can be or do or have anything I want. And it's really all dependent on my belief and my expectation of it. And usually I do get whatever I want because I expect it. So that's what I project that to my students even. I project that. And that's my goal every day when I wake up. When I get up in the morning, I want to be happy. And I always get up on the right side of the foot. And yes, I have my downsides, I have my down days. But it doesn't last long because I don't let it last long. So I'm a generally very positive person. And I like being around positive people. I really like that. Our friends are very important to us in Bahrain because they are family. My siblings, they live all the way in the US and California. So I don't get to see them as much as I would like to. But our friends have been friends ever since we moved to Bahrain. Some of them were friends with us when we lived in Dubai. Some were friends when we lived in Saudi Arabia. And now they are living here in Bahrain. So our friends are our family. And we have that mutual respect. I like to have a kind of like a mixed culture. I like to have the Pakistani community. I like to have the American community. I like to have the Arab community. I really like the intermingling and the sharing and the caring and the learning that comes with intermingling with other people and other ways of thinking and other opinions. I really enjoy that because I want to learn. I want to learn from others as well. So yes, I would definitely say our friends are our family, and I so much appreciate having that in Bahrain. So I think Bahrain has something very special about it that attracts people together and makes them want to stay together. Right now, our future plans are to continue living in Bahrain because we love it so much. It is the best of everything that we want. It's the ease of life here. It is the people. It is the environment, the smallness of the island. I love coming to Bahrain Airport. I know they're making a new airport, but I feel like I'm in a little village. And it's just so comfortable. And I really enjoy that. So I think we will be here for many, many years to come. We have no plans of leaving for now. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. But if we do leave, I will be very sad because Bahrain will be in my heart forever, forever. And I can never forget this place.
I'm originally from Pakistan. I was born in Saudi Arabia, where my father worked in the late 50s for Saudi Aramco. Then I did my high school in Pakistan, and my family sent me to live with my uncle and aunt in New Jersey, where I did my engineering science degree. And then I was admitted at University of Oklahoma to study petroleum engineering. I started my career working as an engineer in Oklahoma and Texas, and lo and behold, the first opportunity that came for me to move back to the Middle East, I put my name for it and I got transferred in to the Middle East. I worked sometime in offshore rigs in Egypt, then I worked in Pakistan, thereafter I worked in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. 2 years later, we broke into the market in Saudi Aramco, and the next 12 years I developed a company working in Saudi Aramco. 2002, after living in Saudi Arabia for about 7 years, we decided to move to Bahrain. We were coming here every weekend anyway, and we fell in love in Bahrain, and we found Bahrain to be so welcoming that it was very easy transition. In 2007, I decided to say goodbye to my job and found out through experience and through other friends who had done the same, that Bahrain is extremely business friendly. I once saw an ad, Bahrain business friendly, on CNN. Well, so let me check it out. So I called a local lawyer. He says, what is that you want to do? I said, I want to open my own business. And he said, what? I said, oilfield services and petroleum services. In 1 week, I got a commercial registration. I said goodbye to my job, and I started my business here in 2005. Rest is history. I've been running my own business for past 13, 14 years, and I'm very happy that I took that decision, just picking up that one ad on CNN as Bahrain business friendly. You know, life has been, I'm very blessed that we came to the right place and we decided after living here for 4 or 5 years that we can call this place home. In petroleum business, in my life, I've visited more than 35, 40 countries traveling. I've worked in and out of about 20 countries, and I lived in about 7 or 8 countries because of my work required me. And with all this background, I can say without a doubt that Bahrain is one of the best. Every country has its own pros and cons, but for me, Bahrain has become home. And there are 2 or 3 factors for that. One was the ease of doing business. Second, I'm treated in this country as a businessman just like a Bahraini. And the comfort level the local people give you, from a cab driver at Bahrain airport to the CEO or chairman of the board of a bank, people are very welcoming and they are very comfortable in their own skin. Therefore, they make you very comfortable in your own skin. My first introduction to Bahrain was in 1985. The American company I worked for in Oklahoma, they sent me to the Middle East Oil Show. And that was year 1985. So I've been coming to this country, my first introduction 34 years ago. I've seen this country grow. My first favorite place was the Trader Vic's at the Ritz-Carlton. And we often got together and with friends back in late 80s, early 90s, and when we lived in Bahrain, Sabah and I often came from Saudi. We spent the time at the hotel and we got together there. After moving to Bahrain, Jasra House, we lived in Jasra in 2002, and Jasra House was my first introduction to Bahrain's history. Tree of Life is another favorite, and Gracie and I from time to time go there, especially in winter time. I take Gracie with me and she runs wild and I walk around in there. Oil Museum is one of my favorites that I take every visitor that comes to visit us. There are many other places for us. One of the reasons we moved to Rifa Views is the golf course. I've been golfing for 25 years. And it's very easy for me to just walk out and walk with my golf trolley, go hit some balls, or we have a group of golfing friends. We set our tee off time and we play golf at least once a week, maybe sometimes more when the weather is nice.
Gracie came to us about 4.5 years ago, and we decided to get her when she was only 4 months old because both of my sons were grown up and they had left, and my mother-in-law, who had always lived with us, had passed away, and I and my husband were living in this house, and it got very quiet in this house, with just the two of us. And so I felt that we should have a pet, and I had never had a pet before. I had never had a dog before, but I just felt like maybe a golden retriever would be good for us. And she was just this big when we got her at 4 months. And she grew very rapidly, and she has given us so much joy. She is just, we come home and she's waiting for us. We leave and she's got a sad face. She is just a wonderful, wonderful, addition to our family. And now I cannot imagine living my life without her. I really can't. So yes, when they say a dog is a man's best friend, it is really true.